Imagine waking up to find alien ships in the sky, declaring Earth under quarantine. What if humanity's unpredictable genius was the galaxy's biggest secret weapon? Picture a world where a ragtag group of rebels fights back, not with advanced tech, but with sheer grit and a taste for mayhem. This isn't just survival, it's a cosmic defiance. And wait until you hear how they turn the tables and send a message that echoes through the stars. Stick around. This is a story you'd binge read if only it weren't real. Max Carter adjusted his welding goggles, sparks flying as he put the finishing touches on a new contraption in the garage. He grimaced, thinking about how few people on Earth cared about real innovation anymore. He turned off his welding torch, raising the goggles. A satisfied smirk played on his lips. "Another masterpiece, Carter," he muttered, wiping the sweat from his forehead. The radio buzzed in the background, barely audible over the clatter of tools and machinery. "KZDET, this is an emergency broadcast. Unknown spacecrafts have been sighted entering Earth's atmosphere." "KZDT," the voice drew Max's attention. He dropped his wrench. "Spaceships? Now that's a first," he said to the empty garage, rolling his eyes. It would be yet another government conspiracy or people mistaking weather balloons for aliens. He walked over to the window, curious despite himself. His breath caught in his throat as he saw countless crafts descending from the sky. This wasn't a joke or hoax. There were actual alien ships. He grabbed his phone, dialing his friend Jake. The line rang endlessly before connecting. "Jake, are you seeing this?" Max shouted, pacing. "Aliens! I knew it would happen. I told you, man." Jake's voice buzzed with excitement and panic. "You and your conspiracy theories. But this time you're right. We need to meet up. Now." Just as he hung up, a brilliant blue light enveloped the sky. A colossal holographic image of an alien with features both mesmerizing and terrifying flickered into existence above the city. "I am Commander Valrock of the Zorathi Empire. Earth is now under quarantine due to the threat your species poses to galactic stability. Submit and you will be spared." Max muttered, "Well, there goes the weekend plans." He grabbed his backpack, filling it with tools and gadgets. If the Zorathi thought humans would roll over so easily, they were in for a surprise. He sprinted out of his garage, heading for the meeting spot. The streets were chaos. People screamed and ran. Cars collided in frantic attempts to escape the incoming ships. Max mentally noted that for an advanced species, the Zorathi had a knack for causing bedlam. He slipped through alleys, avoiding soldiers and panicked mobs. He found Jake near the old library, eyes wide and hands trembling. Max gripped his shoulders. "Jake, pull it together. We need to find the resistance. I got a tip they're gathering underground." Jake nodded, regaining some composure. "Yeah, okay, let's do this." Together, they navigated the labyrinthine tunnels beneath the city, whispering dark jokes to keep their spirits up. They reached a hidden door, and after a series of knocks, it opened to reveal a grim, determined group huddled around a table. A man stepped forward. "You Max Carter? We heard about you. Welcome to the Resistance." Max gave a mock salute. "Pleasure to be here. Let's show these Zorathi they're quarantining the wrong planet." The man smiled faintly. "I'm Luke. We've got intel that the Zorathi are setting up base camps and communication hubs. We hit those, we might stand a chance." Max nodded. "Got some blueprints upstairs. Maybe we can MacGyver a few surprises for them." Hours passed as the group planned. Max's dark humor and quick thinking earned him nods of approval. They were a mismatched bunch, but their shared goal unified them. As night fell, the first mission was set. Max and Jake headed out, cloaked in shadows. They reached a Zorathi communications hub, crouching behind debris. Max whispered, "Ready to kick some alien butt?" Jake grinned nervously. "Always." With synchronized movements, they set explosive charges, wires humming with energy. In moments that felt like hours, they completed their task, retreating quickly. Far from the blast zone, they turned to witness the explosion. The hub erupted in flames, shrapnel lighting the night sky. "Welcome to Earth, Valrock," Max muttered with a smirk. "Hope you like fireworks." Max woke up to the sound of the makeshift alarm in the underground bunker. He groaned, rolling off his cot. The rest of the Resistance team was already up, huddled around a flickering monitor. Luke glanced over. "Morning, Carter. Late night?" "Got caught up rigging fireworks for our new guests." Max stretched. Any alien love letters come our way? Luke smirked. Intel shows the Zorathi are reinforcing their comms hubs. They didn't expect us to hit them this soon. Max scratched his chin. Guess they don't know humans are like ants. You squash one, 50 more come out. One of the newer recruits, a young woman named Maria, looked apprehensive. So what's the plan now? We keep showing them that we're not just ants, Max said, his dark humor shining through. More like a hive of really angry wasps with a vendetta. Luke outlined the next target, a supply convoy expected to move through the city's industrial district at dusk. Max appreciated the strategic choice. Hitting their supplies would slow the Zorathi down. As the group prepared, Max took Jake aside. Got a bad feeling today. Keep your head low, all right? Jake nodded. Got your back, Max. By late afternoon, they were in position, crouched behind crates in the rundown factory. The air reeked of rust and oil. Max felt the weight of tension and impending action. He shifted his gaze to Maria, offering a reassuring nod. Just follow the plan and we'll be fine. Besides, I've got a reputation for bad luck and epic comebacks. The rumble of heavy vehicles grew louder. The convoy appeared, sleek, alien transports draped in shimmering blue shields. Showtime, Max whispered, adrenaline pumping. With a signal from Luke, the team sprang into action. Explosive charges clamped to the vehicles, snipers taking out alien guards. Max felt the thrill of chaos, his hands moving almost by instinct. Bet they didn't see this in their intergalactic handbook. The first explosion rocked the convoy. Alien screams echoed as their precious supplies went up in flames. Max's dark glee was cut short when a plasma bolt whizzed past his head. A Zorathi soldier had spotted him. Well, hello, ugly, Max muttered, diving for cover. Jake covered him, firing back. We're in deep now, Max. Max grinned even as he crouched behind a crate. Then let's dig deeper. Injecting humor into danger kept him sharp. He peeked out, spotting the alien soldier's weak point, an exposed joint. With a quick aim and fire, the Zorathi fell. One down, he breathed. Just as things seemed under control, a powerful hum grew louder. Max's eyes widened. They have drones! Metallic spheres hovered, releasing pulse waves that knocked out several resistance fighters. Panic surged, but Max forced himself to stay calm. Plan B, everyone! Fall back! His voice cut through the chaos. They retreated, making their way through the twisted maze of the industrial district. Max's mind raced. They had underestimated the Zorathi, but that worked both ways. Regrouping at the secondary hideout, a sense of defeat hung heavy. Maria's eyes were filled with fear. We lost so many! Max's dark humor flickered, replaced by steely resolve. Then we need to hit them harder next time. Make sure their loss is even greater. Before anyone could respond, a figure emerged from the shadows. Dr. Elara Finn, the Zorathi defector, her eyes scanning the group. You fought well, given the circumstances, but you'll need more than bravery. I know how to truly hurt them. Max's interest peaked. Why the sudden change of heart, Doc? Regret filled her eyes. I've seen the destruction they're capable of. Humanity doesn't deserve this. Max exchanged a look with Luke, then nodded. All right, Doc, let's hear what you got. As Dr. Finn spoke, Max studied her, sensing the weight she carried. Maybe, just maybe, they had a fighting chance with her knowledge. The night deepened. The resistance group gathered around their newest ally, hearts steeled for the battles to come. Max's mind spun with plans and jokes, keeping the darkness at bay with his inner light. Max couldn't take his eyes off the alien tech laid out before him. Dr. Elara Finn was explaining the intricacies with a mixture of patience and urgency. These are pulse disruptors. Their shields can't handle sustained pulses. Hit them right, and they'll drop like flies. Max grinned, a dark glint in his eye. Funny, I always thought mosquitoes were annoying. Guess we've got space mosquitoes now. Luke, standing next to Max, shook his head, but couldn't hide a smile. Focus, Carter. We're hitting their main supply depot next. Max nodded, storing one of the pulse disruptors in his bag. The group moved with renewed purpose. They were a motley crew, but spirits were high. Knowing they had a Zorathi defector on their side gave them an edge. Like finding out the school bully's weakness was a fear of kittens. By nightfall, they approached the depot. It was a formidable structure, guarded by alien soldiers, and surrounded by high walls shimmering with protective energy. Max studied the layout, the dark humor fading. All right, everyone knows their roles? A murmur of agreement passed through the team. They slipped into position, using the shadows for cover. Max and Jake moved towards the main gate, while Luke and Maria took the flanks. Max whispered to Jake, "Ever blow up an alien depot before?" Jake chuckled nervously. "Can't say I have. First time for everything, right?" Max placed the pulse disruptor against the energy field. "Here's to hoping first times are lucky." He activated it, and the field flickered. In moments, the path was clear. They slipped through, silently taking out guards. Max felt the thrill of danger, the adrenaline sharpening his focus. As they neared the central storage, a sudden noise made Max freeze. A squad of Zarathi soldiers marched by, their alien chatter incomprehensible, but their intent clear. Jake's eyes widened with panic. Max placed a calm hand on his shoulder. "Remember, heads low and hearts steady," he whispered. The squad passed without noticing them, and they continued. Reaching the central storage, Max planted charges. "Luke, Maria, how are things on your end?" he asked through the comm. "Good to go," Luke's voice crackled. "Ready when you are," Maria added. The countdown began, each second dragging like an eternity. When it reached 0, a series of explosions rippled through the air. Alien cries filled the night as chaos erupted. The depot's defenses were crippled. Max and Jake sprinted back to the rendezvous point. Max's heart pounded, each beat a triumph over fear. "Hope they like losing their stuff as much as we like blowing it up," he quipped, his voice strained but resolute. They regrouped, adrenaline still pumping through their veins. The mission was a success, but the victory felt fragile. Max looked at his team, a mismatched band of fighters turned heroes. Each face held stories of resilience and fear. Back at the hideout, celebrations were muted. The weight of loss and the looming threat of retaliation hung heavy. Max found himself alone, staring at the tech laid out by Dr. Finn. She approached, her expression weary. "You did well, Max," she said softly, "but this is far from over." Max nodded, the gravity of her words sinking in. "Every step forward feels like stepping deeper into quicksand." Dr. Finn placed a hand on his shoulder. "Every fight you win gives us hope. It gives me hope." Max looked into her eyes, seeing the battle-worn truth. Hope's a sturdy anchor, but it's action that breaks chains. The room was quiet, the team resting and readying for the next fight. Max leaned against the wall, his dark humor giving way to a steely resolve. Each victory, each moment of defiance, chipped away at the Zarathi's hold on their world. This war was far from over, but Max felt the fire within them. Unquenchable, unstoppable. As the night deepened, he faced the future not with blind optimism, but with the hardened resolve of a human who knew that while the universe may be vast and indifferent, Earth was fiercely resilient. His thoughts sharpened to a single point. They had a fighting chance, and by all that was sacred and profane, they weren't going to waste it. Max stood on the rooftop, the city spread out below him like a broken mosaic. The Zarathi Command Center loomed in the distance, a beacon of alien authority. He adjusted his gear, feeling the weight of the mission ahead. "This is it," Luke said, joining him. "We bring down that command center. We cripple their operations." Max chuckled, the sound dry and sharp. "All in a day's work, right?" Luke met his gaze, seriousness in his eyes. "This isn't just another mission, Max. This is the showdown." Max nodded, the gravity of the moment sinking in. "Then let's make it one for the history books." The team moved through the darkened streets, shadows slipping between buildings. Each step brought them closer to the heart of the Zarathi presence. Max's mind raced, past missions flashing before his eyes. This one carried a weight unlike any other. Reaching the perimeter of the command center, they regrouped. Maria and Jake checked their equipment, nerves and determination etched on their faces. Dr. Ilara Finn emerged from the shadows, her expression calm but intense. "We need to disable their defense grid first," she whispered. "Follow me." They navigated the maze of corridors, avoiding patrols with practiced ease. The air was thick with tension, every sound amplified. Max felt the pulse of adrenaline. his senses heightened. He caught a glimpse of himself in a shattered mirror, eyes reflecting a mix of resolve and defiance. Reaching the control room, Dr. Finn worked quickly, fingers dancing over the alien tech. The team stood guard, anticipation hanging in the air. Max felt a rush of pride for his team, their bravery shining through the darkness. "Almost there," Dr. Finn muttered, concentration etched on her face. Max's dark humor slipped through. "Tell me you've got a fun surprise for them." A faint smile flickered on her lips. "You'll see." The defense grid shut down, leaving the command center vulnerable. The team moved in, encountering heavier resistance. Alien soldiers poured into the corridors, plasma bolts sizzling past them. "Keep pushing!" Max shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos. They fought with ferocity, each step a hard-won victory. The corridors became a battlefield, bodies falling as they pressed forward. Max's heart pounded, his mind a whirlwind of strategies and instincts. Reaching the central chamber, they faced the final obstacle. Commander Valrock. The alien leader stood tall, eyes blazing with contempt. "Foolish humans," Valrock sneered. "You think you can defy the Zarathi Empire?" Max stepped forward, his voice steady and darkly humorous. "More than think, Valrock. We know." The battle was fierce, each side trading blows with relentless intensity. Max's movements were fluid, every action driven by determination. The team fought alongside him, their bond unbreakable. Valrock proved a formidable adversary, but Max's resilience shone through. Each injury fueled his resolve, each setback making him fight harder. He saw the determination in his team's eyes, felt their strength bolstering his own. As the battle reached its climax, Max saw an opening. He seized it, delivering a decisive blow that brought Valrock to his knees. The alien leader's eyes widened in disbelief, the fight draining from his body. "It's over," Max said, his voice a mix of triumph and exhaustion. "Earth stands free." The command center fell silent, the weight of their victory settling in. The team stood together, bruised and battered but unbroken. Max felt a surge of pride, their journey from scattered resistance to unified force flashing before his eyes. Dr. Finn approached, a mixture of relief and sadness in her eyes. "We did it." Max nodded, the gravity of their win sinking in. "Yeah, we did, but the fight's not over. Not yet." As they made their way out of the command center, the dawn light casting long shadows, Max knew their victory was a turning point. The Zarathi had underestimated humanity, and now the universe would see their strength. His dark humor returned, a shield against the enormity of their task. "Welcome to the new dawn," he muttered, a defiant grin on his face. "Let's bring the fight to them." The team moved forward, united by victory and the promise of a future worth fighting for. Max stood on the charred remains of the Zarathi Command Center, the sun casting long shadows over the devastated landscape. The distant sounds of battle were fading, replaced by the eerie silence of a hard-won victory. Around him, the resistance fighters moved with a mix of fatigue and elation. Luke approached, his stance weary but his eyes shining with triumph. "We did it, Max. We finally did it." Max wiped the sweat from his brow, a dark smile curling on his lips. "Yeah, but only because they made the mistake of thinking we'd go quietly." Maria and Jake joined them, grins plastered on their faces despite the grime and injuries. "What's next?" Maria asked, her voice tinged with hope. Max glanced at the horizon, the weight of leadership heavy on his shoulders. "We rebuild, but more importantly, we prepare. The galaxy needs to know we're not pushovers." Dr. Alara Finn appeared from the rubble, holding a datapad. "Max, there's something you need to see." He followed her to a makeshift shelter, where a holographic map of the galaxy flickered. Red zones highlighted areas of intense conflict. "The Zarathi weren't just trying to quarantine us," she explained. "They were using Earth as a strategic buffer. There's a galactic war brewing, and we're in the middle of it." Max's dark humor kicked in, masking the gravity of her words. "Great, we just got out of the frying pan and right onto the BBQ grill." Dr. Finn's expression remained serious. "We need to form alliances, Show other species were a force to be reckoned with. Luke stepped in, determination clear. Then let's start with the message. How do we reach out? Max's mind raced, the need for strategy overwhelming. We use their tech against them. Broadcast a signal. Let the galaxy know Earth stands strong. Maybe even scare a few of those warmongering aliens while we're at it. Hours turned into days as they worked together, converting Zorathi technology into a galactic beacon. Max often found himself staring at the sky, contemplating the enormity of their task. His dark jokes kept the team's spirits up, but he knew deep down they were on uncharted ground. Finally, the moment came. The beacon was ready. The team gathered, a sense of anticipation hanging thick in the air. Max stood at the center, his rugged face illuminated by the flickering lights of the device. He turned to his team. "Ready to let the galaxy know we're here to stay?" A chorus of affirmations met his question. Max activated the beacon, and a signal surged out into the cosmos. His voice, strong and defiant, carried through the ether. "This is Earth. To those who seek war, beware. We're not just survivors, we're fighters, and we'll defend our home against any threat." The beacon's message echoed across the galaxy, reaching distant worlds and uncertain allies. Max felt a sense of exhilaration, imagining the impact of their words. As the signal transmission ended, a sense of calm washed over the group. They had made their stand, declaring their resilience to the universe. Max turned to his friends, his dark humor returning with a smile. "Well, now we wait and see who wants to be our new pen pals." Dr. Finn's eyes, usually filled with caution, now held a glimmer of hope. "We've taken the first step. Now we need to build on it." Luke clasped Max's shoulder. Together, Max gazed at the rising sun, the promise of new challenges ahead. "Together," he echoed, resolve firm. The days that followed saw the resistance transform into leaders, rebuilding their world while forging connections with newfound allies. Max's dark humor remained a constant, a beacon of defiance and strength. Despite the uncertain future, Max knew one thing: humanity had proven its worth. They had faced the darkness and emerged not just as survivors, but as a force that the universe would have to reckon with. As they moved forward, united and unyielding, Max's thoughts were clear and determined. The fight was far from over, but they were ready. And for the first time, the galaxy would see the true strength of Earth.